The meeting of the joint meeting of the Rules and Open Government Committee to order. And Tony, can I get a roll call, please?
Arenas?
Here.
Davis?
Here.
Jones?
Present.
Ricardo absent.
Okay. So here we are going to put up the agenda for January 12th. Okay. So we're going to start out pages 5 and 6.
I need a sunshine waiver on 2.7.
Okay, can the maker of the motion make note of that, please? 7, pages 7 and 8.
We will also need a sunshine waiver on 2.9.
Okay. Pages 9 and 10. Pages 11 and 12. Pages 13 and 14. And also, can the maker of the motion also include the ad sheet? And let's see if we have any public speakers. Paul Soto. Go ahead, Paul. Paul, there you go.
Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Council. I, along with yourselves, am saddened. I'm saddened, but I'm not surprised. And the fact that I'm not surprised about what
we seem to have lost him, Vice Mayor.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Paul, try to get back in. We're gonna.
What is happening in this country, but I'm glad that it is. Now, the issues apart as far as the agenda.
Hey, Paul.
As far as
take it from the beginning. You cut out on us, so we'll go ahead and give you some more time. And we didn't hear everything.
Okay. Yet. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. I, along with yourselves, am saddened and grieved, but I'm not surprised as to what's happening in this country right now. And I look forward to having conversations with the council. I'm glad that Ricardo is away. Hopefully he's going to be having a press conference with the chief of police to address the city. It needs to be addressed. Yes, it does. Because this is not surprising to the blacks or to the Mexicans or the response that this federal government is having towards them. The homeboy got shot in the testicles just for protesting exercising his First Amendment right.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Paul, we lost you again. Let's go to Blair. Blair Beekman.
Hi, thank you. Happy Wednesday. Happy New Year. There's a few items. One item is about deferral of questions for the new police chief and how to look for a new police chief. To simply offer some of my words from last night's open forum, I think, I think there was a problem with kind of backbiting and a conservative nature within the POA that was, there's always that conservative nature. I think it was allowed to kind of be a bit rampant. And I feel a person like Deputy Chief Anthony Mata would be a good person to address kind of that, just, I don't know what to call it, old granniness that sometimes attacks the POA, and they turn into little old grannies. And and that's my personal feeling, and it happens. And I felt how Aaron Zisser, the former IPA, was kind of removed, and he didn't have to be. And it was sad that happened, and that was just a lot of just bad feeling where there didn't have to be. And I think Deputy Chief Mata is a person who can really address those issues well. And I really hope he's the person to look for in how you'll be looking for a police chief, if not him himself. And with 22 seconds, I wanted to quickly offer the idea of the trails. You have more trail usage things going on. Paul Soto mentioned ideas, why can't you, I hope we can learn to express ourselves more about subject matter in upcoming council items in this upcoming year. And always, of course, to quickly add, think of openness and transparency and open public policy practices that can help a lot.
Thank you, Blair. Bring it back to the committee.
I move approval of the January 12th agenda with a sunshine waiver for 2.7 and 2.9, and including all the items from the ad sheet.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please, Tony.
Arenas,
Yes.
Davis,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. We don't have a meeting scheduled for the 19th, so on to the public record.
Motion to note and file.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. We have two public speakers. Paul, let's give it another shot.
Thank you for that, Vice Mayor. I hope the reception is better here.
Much better.
Okay, thank you. My concern was that I share the council's grief and sorrow over what's happening in our country right now, but I'm not surprised. And the fact that, most Blacks or Mexicans aren't surprised is part of the issue. But I'm gonna keep it on topic here. I read what's going into the public record with respect to the city wanting to have an open space somewhere there on Payne Road. And after reading what the gentleman had wrote and what is being done in that community, in that area, I think that it requires considering that man is in that community on a daily basis, and it sounds like he's been there for a while, talking about that particular issue. Now, I don't know like if this is the function of the committee to do right now, but I would just like if more time can be taken in consideration, taken to that specific area, and that the issues that he had outlined, that they be given a fair hearing. I'm still confused. I'm still learning about like how to adequately address issues during council meetings. So I'd like to speak on the number one, the memorandum that you submitted, Vice Mayor Chappie, on the gift cards for dinners. Is this the appropriate time or later?
This is not the appropriate time, but you can
Okay,
take
cool.
it for open forum.
Okay, open for, or just with that particular issue though?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Paul. Blair?
Hi, thanks. I hope I want to read, hopefully I can read my public record from this week, and I really hope it can address what's possibly going on in Washington, D.C. at this time, and I hope it can help, not just everyday people, but government as well. This was an unprecedented year for the mail-in ballot. It seems what is becoming clear is that the mail-in ballot this election year is being handled in the parameters of what is to be expected of this country's better practices. At this point, instead of states trying to take to court the Biden campaign and the Democratic Party about the overall vote tally, I hope states will instead want to look at themselves internally and want to take the time to consider how to better negotiate with their own issues in the future of their local city and county voting, issues they have already been working on well before 2020. I think at this time and into the 2020s can actually be a time of agreed voting rights ideas that could work towards some important ideas of unity and long-term sustainability for the future of this country. I think we are at the precipice of a really good structure in the 2020s on voting rights. And we've been working the past 10, 15 years on the subject. I'm pretty appalled at the attitude that we're taking about this subject, and we're not considering that more and building that into the next, how we're going to work in the next 5 or 10 years. And I think we can produce something really good for this country. And I hope that can be realized in what's going on right now. And thanks for your time. And of course, what I said yesterday, if I have any time left here, I got 13 seconds. You know, what I tried to say yesterday at the national level, you know, we have to worry what Trump is doing in his final days, both domestically and nationally. I hope we're on top of it and aware of it and don't let anything bad happen in the next 6 months or so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beekman. And my apologies for my tardy appearance. We're all dealing with the chaos of the day. Hope everybody stays safe. Okay, so we're on the public record, I understand. Is that right, Vice Mayor?
Yes, we already had a motion in a second. So
Great, let's vote. Thanks, Vice Mayor.
Arenas,
Yes.
Davis,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye. Great. We're on to item G1, which is the consent calendar.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, Paul Soto.
Good afternoon, Mayor Ricardo. I hope that you and Chief Garcia are going to address the city formally regarding the issues that are happening in our country right now. That is my hope. As far as the calendar, the consent calendar, I have issue with recipients of Vice Mayor Chappie's memo. Any recipients on there that are on the SVO committee connected to that organization, anybody that has any connection to that organization receiving anything, a penny from this city's dime, I am 100% opposed to. I hope that the city considers that in determining who can receive any kind of voucher or gift card or anything from the city, because that right there really sickened me. What happened there? And it seems like this particular meeting involved small businesses, and I'm sure there was at least some people in that room, some people in that committee that was connected to SVO. And so my only hope is that anything disseminated by the city in terms of finances or anything having to do with this particular memo, that they be just scratched from the list and it be because of those specific reasons. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beekman?
Hi, you have a upcoming dumpster day coming up in some area. I can't, Hillview area. And I'm liking you having a dumpster day about, every council, every rules and open government item, and it's nice to see. I've grown excited the idea of what dumpster day, to remember the ideas that dumpster day can be a day of a whole community process that can invite, people with homes and people without homes, is my feeling, to the process. And it's at least a time to think of that, and that can be possible to have those sort of dumpster days. And I think I can accomplish a lot, and I think we need it at this time of with so much trash around and its blight worries that I just think it's as always, it's just good communication that's needed. It's not punitive. It's not being cruel to people or angry at people about it. It's just a matter of working out our differences as much as we can. And the dumpster days can be a really good way to do that. And thanks for your patience for myself speaking on the last item. I think I have a really good answer, and I'm really happy about it. I think it can do a lot, and I'm sorry that there's so much fighting going on at the national level, and I hope we can just use good reasoning, and that will solve our problems. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, returning to the council, let's vote on the motion.
Arenas,
Yes.
Davis,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank
All
you.
right, H1 and H3 and H4 are all work plans. I'd like to, I assume we can vote together on these unless there are changes. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any suggested changes from the committee to any of these work plans? All right, why don't we consider a motion for all of them?
Motion to approve all 3 work plans?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Soto?
Thank you, Mayor. With regard to the update on the Public Safety Strategic Support Committee plan, we're talking about 25 story buildings, like just, as an example. These developers are coming to the city and they're not from here. They're from New York, they're from Japan, they're China, Canada, different parts of the United States. They're coming here and they're investing in these properties. They're going ahead, building them, getting tax breaks, tax relief, however you want to call it. It's just semantics. And they're getting these monies, okay, and they're building these structures that is unprecedented in this city, which means that that's going to put an onus on the police departments and the fire departments in order to buy new equipment in order to accommodate the building that they've already profited from. They went ahead and built this infrastructure, and they're leaving it to the city to draw from their funds in order to get we need a new ladder, because what's going to happen if we need to get to the 24th floor or the 23rd or the 22nd to address these particular issues? Ambulances, there's going to be a lot of issues in terms of the infrastructure that the council is not addressing. What they're doing is you guys are passing policy and you're passing laws and allowing this to happen. And you're going to leave it to future city council members to address. And the problem that I have with it is that as a citizen, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to die in this city. Well, however long that is, that could be 5 years, that could be 20 years. But from now until then, I'm going to keep at these meetings. This is my duty. It's not my job. I don't get paid to do this. I don't work for a nonprofit. I don't work for nobody, and I have absolutely no political ambitions. And so I'm going to be at this for a while. So I don't want to be having this conversation later on down the road where the developers were not taxed on that, and then that being put into the plans and the bids that they're making on these properties to build, when it's the city that's going to pick up the dime for the infrastructure that's going to be needed to address those issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beekman?
All right, thank you. In what may be simple good reasoning, it should be noted that the VTA budget, to talk about T&E items, it should be noted the VTA budget for electric buses and its recharging in the next 5 to 10 years may have to take precedence over current ideas of trying to implement AV light rail mass transportation in the same time period. And in some of my words from yesterday, new 4 and 5G is now being placed in local SA neighborhoods in this time of COVID-19. This is new technology and surveillance hardware for much needed digital inclusion ideas for neighborhood safety and Vision Zero needs. Its arrival is at a somewhat heavy, cynical, and difficult price. I feel open public policies can simply help to better define current needs and ideas of community sustainability and how to create a more well-rounded bridge with the future issues of digital divide, Vision Zero, and neighborhood safety. The ideas of good open public practices and its policies are ideas that can help with current questions of equity, equality, civil protections, reimagine, and good local democratic practices and sustainability. and part of the important positive steps that can invite everyone out of the era of COVID-19 and a return to more regular community patterns, practices, and routines. This simply can be the ideas of peace, not war, and ways the everyday public can be able to learn to trust their government again. Good luck in how the city of San Jose can make sure a 4 and 5G telecom requests for placement in local neighborhoods are open and transparent in San Jose this year, and in how to listen to your everyday community, as some simply may be uncomfortable having 4 and 5G placed in their local neighborhood. With 15 seconds left, I wanted to quickly add that these are ideas that actually have originated from SJ Sunshine Ordinance ideas of 2006 and 2007 in their ways to leave 9/11 and the ideas of war. I hope you're interested in these ideas, and thank you.
Thank you. All right, returning then to the panel, let's vote.
Arenas,
Yes.
Davis,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to open forum. Mr. Beekman?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, to conclude, what I just spoke about, San Jose started with some sunshine ordinance ideas in 2006 and 2007 that I think has been a really good model for what I've been talking about all these years now. And to have a frame of reference, just different ways to talk about open public policy, that's the key of what I'm trying to do. It's not one specific thing. But man, just to be able to talk about that, and with the 311 ideas that were mentioned yesterday, I think we're really trying to look for what can be more broad understandings of just good policy ideas, and that's the whole fun of things. And that's what to look for. How do we get our community to trust ourselves and trust each other and work with each other? And I think the ways to do that are to look into open public policy and promote them and endorse them and express, good ideas around them. And that's how you get people excited and happy and just trusting and comfortable. And so good luck in those efforts. And, thank you to certain council persons yesterday who worked on sick leave pay in the time of COVID. That's around the stuff that I'm always trying to work on and talk about in terms of like Ashikawa's work at the state level with rent forgiveness ideas that are happening right now. In this time of COVID, to have a progressive viewpoint that serves a specific function, it's really helpful and needed. And I hope we can all trust that. If it's serving a very specific goal, that we can really respect that. And that's what was happening yesterday. It was good to hear everyone. And thanks for your time today. And we can really make something good happen. So let's hope we can do it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Paul Soto?
Okay, I really hope that I have your support, Mayor, with, first of all, I'd like to thank you for bringing up the conversation regarding Fallon's statue. I think now more than ever, it's time for that statue to go, and it's gonna happen. I'm letting you know that that's gonna happen. I would like it to happen in a way that where we as a city collectively can see that this is no longer something that we could allow to stand for in our public spaces. Okay, so I want to thank you for opening that door, but this is considering what is happening, using what's happening in this country right now. That is what happened to my people here in San Jose in 1846 when he planted that flag. Exactly what's happening here. We see the homeboy Derek got shot in his testicles, can no longer have a child, because he was exercising his constitutional right to protest in these city streets, and he was shot by the San Jose police. Okay, and what's happening here? Ain't no white boys getting shot. If this was blacks and Mexicans doing this on that state capitol steps, there would already be shot, there would be tanks, there would be tear gas, there would be all of these types of things. And we know that that's not opinion. These are facts. So in a sense, I'm glad that this is happening because now we have to confront that and we have to have that conversation, stay in the room and stay friends. I demand that we stay friends because we need each other as a city. So what I'm asking for is another hour added to the meeting that's going to happen on the 29th. Because that conversation, you're going to have educators, academics, professors, you're going to have a lot of people in that room. And so I'm asking you specifically, Mayor Liccardo, if you could please consider adding at least another hour to that conversation, because I know it's going to be the first of many, but I'd like to congratulate you and I respect you for at least this beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. My understanding is that was, that period is not limited to an hour, but I'll check in on that. My understanding was that was going to be a longer meeting than that. But as you say, Mr. Soto, there will be more meetings as well. I'll check in and confirm. All right, I think that's it for today. Thanks, everybody. The meeting's adjourned.